Thanks for stopping by for this week's 2 Minutes with Tim. Remember, you can get past editions of 2 Minutes with Tim at timvanronselen.com. This week I want to talk about arbitration agreements. Arbitration agreements are something that is an agreement between two parties that if they have a dispute, they agree to take that dispute to binding arbitration rather than court. If a person has a dispute with anybody and there's not an arbitration agreement, that person can take the other party to court and follow the normal procedures which permit discovery, a process where you are in front of a judge or a jury to resolve your dispute. An arbitration agreement is an agreement where the two parties have agreed that if they have a dispute, that dispute will not go to court, but will be put in front of a neutral third party called an arbitrator. Usually the decision of the arbitrator is binding on both parties, and usually the arbitrator is not someone who is bound by the rules of evidence like a normal judge. You also do not have a chance for a jury, usually, if you have signed an arbitration agreement. A few weeks ago I talked about the cautions you should take before you sign a non-compete agreement, and the same thing applies to arbitration agreements. I recently am representing a person who was fired from their job due to the fact that they needed to use a service animal because they have a visual impairment. We filed that lawsuit in circuit court, and the employer came in and is trying to compel that client to bring their case to arbitration. The judge has denied arbitration in that case, but we see this in many cases. If you have a credit card, if you have a loan with a bank, those lengthy agreements undoubtedly contain arbitration agreements, which would govern any dispute you might have with your credit card company or your lender. Sometimes, like in an employment context, that agreement is something you have a choice either to sign or not to sign. And I would strongly suggest before you ever sign any arbitration agreement that you read it very carefully and perhaps visit with a lawyer. Usually arbitration agreements favor one side over the other, and they take away important constitutional rights that you have. If you have a question about arbitration agreements, please feel free to give me a call and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. My number is 573-635-7977. Thanks for stopping by for this week's 2 Minutes with Tim.